YouTube and see. Look, we'll see what happens. But wait a minute. Okay. I think it's working. I think it's gonna work. Let's see here. Okay. Definitely will be. It's live YouTube, so it will be on YouTube as well. Um, but this is oh, somebody else is coming. You know, but I know it's nighttime there. It's just afternoon here. And I think it's gonna work. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Let me. Definitely will be. Let me. Live YouTube. So it will. Okay. I needed to. So I wouldn't hear that echo in the background. I needed to turn off the sound. But this is something that and I hope that you all will follow me via YouTube, because what I'm doing is every time Spirit gives me some insight, I'm sharing. I want to share it, so it will be something that may strike a chord, if that makes sense. It might ignite something within you. So that's why I'm sharing on YouTube now more so than Facebook, because a lot of people I know don't even do Facebook, but they will look at YouTube. And so right now I'm working on this series of building the consciousness, and and I want to say this: in order for us to succeed in life, to move forward in life, we have to build our consciousness. And consciousness is just building our awareness of who we are, being aware of my thoughts, being aware of my feelings, how I feel about things, how I view things, my perspective. And the way I see things, if it's not in alignment with good, then I have an opportunity. We all have the opportunity to go in and change that. Does that make sense? So hopefully that makes sense. Building consciousness is just about being aware of what I'm thinking, being aware of how I'm feeling. Why do I feel the way I do? If I feel sad, why am I sad? Looking at reasons why we feel a certain way, looking at why we think a certain way. And a lot of times our thought process is based on belief systems that we've been taught, or sometimes our thoughts are based on how we feel, just feelings. And so to me, in order to build our consciousness, and this is something I'm working on. I just want to tell you, I'm not just talking about it. I'm talking about what I'm working on for myself. And the reason why, in order for us to live a healthy, happy, and successful and prosperous life, we have to build our level of thinking. If we think lack and limitation, if we have these poverty thoughts, guess what? That's what we're going to have in the world. That's going to be our experience. And a lot of times, and I have nothing against Christianity per se, but a lot of times Christianity has taught us separating ourselves from the divine that's within us. It's taught us to seek something outside of ourselves, as opposed to seeking that which is within each and every one of us. And hopefully that makes sense. Like I said, I'm not against Christianity per se. It's just a lot of the teachings of Christianity. And I'll say the European Christianity has taught us separation. It has separated us from the divine presence and power that's within us. And so, because we've separated ourselves, we're looking outside of ourselves to be successful, to have a good life, and all these things. We're looking for other people outside of us to tell us what we can and cannot do, what we can and cannot have. It's like to live in lack and limitation. It's like they're saying we have to accept that. And the answer is no, I don't have to accept that. But in order for me not to accept it means I have to go in and I have to change my mindset. That's what this journey life is all about. It's about what we think. It's about it. Life is about experiencing life. And when you really look around, if you're honest with yourself, and I'm being honest with myself, there's abundance everywhere. There's an abundance of people, there's an abundance of everything. But even within that, we have the opportunity. We all have the opportunity to create the life that we want. We all have that opportunity. And a lot of times we're looking for other people to create or tell us what we can and cannot have, as opposed to going within ourselves. And it's, say, from the beginning of time, it says God, that which we call God, the universe, gave a portion of itself to us. It breathed life into us. It gave us the same abilities that it has. The universe, if you look at the universe, look around at everything that has been created, the birds, the animals, the trees, the earth itself, the stars in the sky, the planets, everything that has been created. And we have the same ability within us to create the lives that we want to live. But we got to build our consciousness first. And that means we got to let go of a lot of certain belief systems. We have to be open and receptive. We have to take time to become conscious, aware of what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, and know that if it's not, I'm trying to look, I had to mute somebody. And if what we really want in life is not, if if you can't feel it on the inside, if you can't really see it for yourself, then you're not going to have it. You have to, within yourself, within your consciousness, you have to see it. If you have an idea, don't look at the outside circumstances and say, I can't. You have to continuously say, I see it. I believe I can do this. I can make this happen. I can work. I'm willing to work and do what it's going to take to live the life that was promised to me. But then again, am I willing to follow that inner guidance? We have an inner guidance system that will lead us into all good things. But are we willing to listen to that internal guidance? And there's two internal guidance. There's one that's the ego, the ego, and we call it, here I call it the devil, but it's the ego. And then there's that whisper of a voice that will guide us. And it's like, are we willing to listen to the whisper? It's not going to argue, it's not going to debate. It's just going to tell you to go here, it's going to tell you to do this. And that's it. If anything else starts to debate and say you can't have this, you can't be this, you can't be that, then that's the voice we don't want to listen to, because that's the ego talking, or the devil talking, if you want to call it that way. But this is the journey I'm on at this moment in time, and for me. I'm rebuilding my consciousness, and I will be posting on YouTube for those that are willing to follow. It's not, I don't care. I'm not looking for big numbers. All I need is 50 people. That's all I'm worried. That's all I'm worried about. If I get 50 people, then I can, um, from my cell phone, I can do live streams from anywhere. I can do stuff from my computer here, but usually when I'm in the car or when I'm at the lake and spirit speaks to me, I like to share. As spirit, as spirit is speaking to me, I like to share with others. And so if I can get just need 50 so I can be able to go live on YouTube. So I don't care about big numbers, but just if I got 50 people, I'm good. So if y'all don't mind, at least help me get 50 people. So go and subscribe to my channel. Look, Dorothy Peterson. Look, I don't know. Tucson, if you don't mind, if you could share that with them, I don't know. However that goes. However that goes. Um,
Brother,
yeah, somebody wanted to say something.
come again, please.
No, I said if you can share my YouTube with others so that to let them know.
Yes, I'm sharing it. I'm sharing it, and some have started subscribing.
Okay.
Mm.
This is something I need to share right now because my goal is to well, I'm coming back to Uganda. I know I'm but far as what I do when I come back to visit is all dependent. This is how I look at it. If you're not willing to grow in consciousness, if you're not willing to grow into your divine self, it's like, what's the purpose of me coming? That's the question. And I'm just for those that are ready for something new, those that are ready to change their life. This is what I'm about because I'm ready to change my life as well. I am super ready. I'm supercharged to change my life around. So building, and it's always a rebuilding. It's not a one-time thing. We're going to constantly evolve. That spirit within us is going to constantly have us taking us to new levels. It's going to constantly tell us things that we need to release and let go of so that we can start operating from our divine selves, who we were from the beginning of time. So again, it's up to each one of us individually. How far do we want to go on this journey? How much of life, this is what comes, how much of life do you want to experience? Do you want to stay in the same state of mind that you're in? Do you want to stay at the same level that you're in a level of lack and limitation? That's not, no. For me, it's a no. I want to experience everything, whew, everything life has to offer. I want to experience. And it's not just about the materialistic stuff. That's going to automatically come. When we start building our consciousness, rebuilding our mindset, the good starts to automatically come. It automatically comes. We don't have to go beg anybody. We don't have to look, we don't have to go steal nothing. When you start changing your mindset, good automatically starts to come to you. Just out of nowhere, you'll find people will be nice to you. People will do things for you. And it's because you're working on yourself. You're building your consciousness. You're becoming aware of, how do I say it? I'm put it this way, I'm becoming aware of how I think, thoughts that I used to think, changing those thoughts, worried about what people think about me, worried about what other people say I can and cannot have, because nobody can tell me what I can and cannot have. Nobody can tell me that. I used to allow preachers and all that to say, well, I had to wait for this and I had to wait for that. But it's like, no, we don't have to wait. All we have to do is work within ourselves. All we have to do is make a decision, be determined to change our mindset. Think about what it is you want moving forward in life and start working on yourself. And you will see that you will start drawing all these things to you. Right now, I'm working on Exodus. Let me see if I got it wrote down. Exodus. Let me, I got so many. Exodus chapter 3, verse 14. This is out of the King James Version. And it says, and God said to Moses, I am that I am. This is something that I'm really, really working on, and I'm excited about it. And this is key things. You got to understand what the words mean. We can't just keep going back and rereading year after year after year a story about Moses. The question is, what does that story mean for me this time, in this lifetime? And it's like I just want to break some words down to you when you think about I am that I am. The I, the letter I is saying the one who is speaking. So when I say I'm talking about me. And it says am. It says it's the present tense of be. It's like am is to exist or to live. I mean, I exist. We all exist. When you come into the realization that I live, I exist, I'm here. I'm here. And then again, that word, that, this is a key thing that we need to understand with that word that. And it's referring to a position, it's a specific thing. And again, the word be, am is to exist or to be. What do I bring forth in my thinking? It's all about my thinking. I am. So, what am I bringing forth in my thoughts? What am I thinking in my mindset? How am I feeling about myself? Again, we've got to check our level of thinking. What am I thinking? What am I saying within myself? What conversations am I having within myself? We got to look at these things. And that word that is it can be a determiner. My level of thinking is going to determine what is going to exist in my life. My level of thinking is going to bring forth what I'm thinking. I am that I am. I am existing. I'm thinking. I'm a thinking individual. This is what we do. We think. And in our thinking, whatever we're thinking, we end up producing what we're thinking into words. Hopefully, this makes sense. But stop and think about it. My thinking, what I'm thinking, I'm putting out into the universe. What I'm thinking, I'm going to draw to me. I'm going to bring forth. So it's again, everything is about thought. What am I thinking? What am I feeling behind what I'm thinking? I am that I am. I'm thinking. I am bringing forth my thoughts into expression. So again, when you really open yourself up, you can look at it and say, "Well, dang." I was like, "Wow." Because if I'm thinking lack and limitation, if I'm thinking I'm not worthy, if I'm thinking, thoughts of fear or anything like that, if I'm thinking about being angry or depressed and all that, what am I going to do? I'm going to bring more of that into my experiences. That's what that I am that I am. I am that I am. What am I thinking? What are my thoughts? It's simple, but it's hard because now we have to go back and rebuild. Now I've got to go in the silence through meditation. I've got to allow my spirit to show me all these thoughts that I've been holding about myself, all these various belief systems that I have. Now I've got to go in and I've got to work through that. But guess what's going to happen? The ego is going to step in because it's been ruling. We've taught it to rule in our life. We've given it power. And so now it's going to tell you, oh, you can't do that. Well, what if this happens? And what if that happens? You can't be this because you don't have anything. So how are you going to do that? It's going to tell you all kinds of crazy things, and we have the power within to shut the ego down. And I'll give you a Bible passage where Jesus had said, he said, "Get behind me, Satan." We have the power within us to tell our ego, to sit down. Get behind me. A word I use is stand down. No, stand down. You need to be quiet because I'm not running away from you anymore. I'm taking my power back. We have the power within us to take control of our thoughts. If it's anything negative, if you're thinking about things that are not for your highest good, we have the power to shut it down and say, no, this is who I am. we are all supposed to live healthy, happy, and prosperous lives. And because we're judging, and I can say I did it, we judge based on what we see with our natural eye, our five senses. We do a lot of things based on what we can physically see. Because if we physically see lack and limitation, we think that this is all there is. We've forgotten how powerful we are. And so now what we've got to do, and it can take a lifetime. It's all dependent. And that's why it says train up a child when he is young, and then when he's old, he won't stray. Because if we start with the children, teaching them how powerful they are and putting this into their belief system, they'll grow up being powerful. But if you start growing, with children, right now what they want to do is feed them with religious doctrine and indoctrinate them with somebody else's belief systems. And then when they get older, they can't understand, why am I suffering? And I'm quite sure maybe you all are thinking it, this is how you were, brought up in Christianity. This is the only thing you know. So this has become your truth. But that's because that's all you know. But if you open yourself up, there's this presence and power within you that will teach you so, so much more. And that's even when you go read the Bible, that's all Jesus was talking about. Renewing of the mind, becoming one with the presence and power that's within you. He never told anybody to worship him. Man put that out there. Jesus never, reading through the scriptures, he never told anybody to worship him. His teachings was renewing of the mind. He gave different metaphors to help you understand how to renew your mind. And he told people that to build this relationship, to become one with the Spirit of God within them, like he had became one with the Spirit of God within him. And this is what it's all about. And that Spirit of God within you will teach. It says, I will teach you all things. It said, I will teach you all things. And we have that within us. And it will, if you open yourself up, it will teach you all things. It will tell you let stuff go. It will tell you to do this for somebody. It tells you to love your enemies. And we know how hard that can be sometimes. Tell you love my enemy. It's like I used to say, Lord, did you see what that person did to me? Did you see how that person treated me? And now you want me to be nice to them? But when you forgive people and release them, it's not that you have to be around the people anymore, but you forgive them and you move on. I've learned to forgive people and move on. And this is what this journey is about. It's a process, and it's a never-ending process. And I hope you understand that it's not this one-time salvation that Christianity teaches you, that you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that Jesus is Lord, and then everything is going to be all right. No, that's not. Jesus didn't even say that. Jesus said, in this world, you will have troubles. He said, stuff is going to show up. But once we start building our consciousness, when stuff shows up, we look at it for what it is and say, okay, what do I need to learn from this experience? And then we move on. Jesus never said worship him. He never said that everything was going to be all right. He says to take one day at a time. If we learn to take one day at a time, because each day will bring some stuff up, because we're in this world. We're living in this world, but we are not of this world. We can rise above the things that are in this world. And it's all dependent upon each one of us individually as to what we're willing to do. If you're willing to build your consciousness, God will put people in your path that will help put you in a direction. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. And as I'm doing it, I'm not just doing it and telling people that you need to do this. Trust me, I'm doing this because this is what I'm working on within myself. Rebuilding my consciousness, rebuilding my temple. And my temple is it's in here. Working daily throughout the day, opening myself up for divine inspiration. And it will, trust, it will come. It will come if you open yourself up. But if you close yourself off, and I'm going to just tell you, if you close yourself off to some of the indoctrinations or the belief systems that you had grew up on, if you close your spirit can't talk to you because this is what you believe. I've heard people say, well, this is what I believe and this is how I was raised and I'm not going, and that's fine. If that's what you want to do, then that's what you do. God says if you make your bed, there's a Bible passage that says if you make your bed in hell, I'll be right there. If you make your bed in heaven, I'll be right there. If you want to think negative, Spirit says, I'll be right there. If that's what you want in your life, that's what I'm going to give you. If you want to live a healthy, happy, and prosperous life, I'll be right there with you. That's what I'll give you because we get to choose how we want to live. Choose this day whom you will serve. We get to choose. So whatever choices you make, but there's a process to rebuilding the mindset. It's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. There's going to be some days where you're going to be mad and you go through that. There's going to be some days when everything is working fine and it's like be grateful. But again, there's going to be some days where we're going to have to deal with some stuff. And it's how you deal with that stuff. Do you let the stuff get the best of you? Do you start worrying and being like the children of Israel, murmuring and complaining because we're going through some things? No. For me, it's like, no. I'm going to work. I'm learning. I'm learning to work through it. Detach my feelings from a lot of things. And this is something I just experienced last weekend. Uh, I have a little dog that's my he's become my little second child, and my brother let him get he got out. My brother, I'm taking care of my brother, so my brother's has little health challenges, and he was able to get out, and I wanted to get upset, but it's like, why get upset? And then he was gone. I think he was gone for 5 days. I didn't know where to look for him or whatever, but somebody seen my dog and ended up bringing my dog back. I had to detach my feelings. I wanted to cry. I wanted to get upset. I wanted to just have a hissy fit, but I decided, let me detach my emotions from this. If it's for the dog to come back, the dog will come back. If it's not for my dog to come back, then it's like I'll bless whoever has him, And I ended up with my dog back. I went through that. uh, that's something I noticed y'all don't have a lot of is dogs in Uganda. I didn't see a lot of dogs, but here in the United States, pets there definitely are pets. But learning to detach the outcome. I want to maybe if you might want to jot this down. There's this thing by Deepak Chopra that defines the law of detachment. The law of detachment. It says to get anything in the physical world, you have to detach from the outcome and be in the process. And being in the process, willing to take these series of actions in order for things to manifest. But be detached from the outcome. We figure, society has taught us how things should be. And so we have this set outcome in our mind of how things should be. But we have to be willing to detach. In order for there to be anything physical, you have to detach. And that's mainly detaching your emotions to it. detaching how you think things should be. And then things will start working out better. And again, this is something that I'm learning as well, to detach from the outcome. If you really think about it, something to really, really think about it. And let me see some other things that again, trusting the process. Can we trust the process? In Matthew 5:17, Jesus says, I did not come in the world to destroy the laws of prophets, but came in to fulfill the laws. There are spiritual laws in place, and we have this ability to fulfill these spiritual laws. In the beginning, creation, the creative process, it says, be fruitful and multiply. Everything God created was good. Everything it created was good. And it told us in Genesis 1 for us to be fruitful and multiply. We're supposed to multiply. We're supposed to live a life of plenty. We're supposed to live that life of plenty. So again, it's like, how does that happen? How does that happen? Does it just magically appear per se? It's like we have to think the good. Can you really think good in your life? Or are you, do we continue to live life based on what we see, what we literally see around us? Because I see lack and limitation. Does that mean we have to live in lack and limitation? That's the question. Because you see lack and limitation, does it mean you have to live in lack and limitation? No, no. Growing up, I grew up in the country. I've shared this. I grew up in the country. And we didn't have indoor bathrooms. We had outside bathrooms. But that was one of the things that growing up, I always said that I would always make sure wherever I lived, I would have an indoor bathroom. Because I hated going outside to the bathroom. That's how I had to grow up. And I think as a little kid, I dreamed of living a good life, living a different life. And when I became, after I graduated from high school, uh, I ended up moving to Cleveland. I left the where I lived at, and I moved here to Cleveland. And I have been here in Cleveland like 40 some years. 40, oh my God, I've been here a long time. Almost 49 years. A little over almost 49 years I've been here in Cleveland. But I as a child, a teenager growing up, we grew up living to me living under subpar conditions, but I made up my mind that that's not where I was going to live. I was not going to continue to live that way, and I don't. And I realize it now because I had made up my mind as a child that that's not how I wanted to live. And we all have that same ability within us. We have to make up in our minds, how do we want to live, and if we're willing to allow spirit to guide us, that presence and power. Because when it said move to Cleveland, I moved here. I didn't have any family here. I didn't have family here in Cleveland. I basically came up here knowing one person, and at that time it was a boyfriend, and that didn't even work out. But I moved to Cleveland on my own, and I'm 40, almost 49 years later. I'm still here. I believe I live a good life. I live a good life. I never have wanted for anything. Has it always been easy? Oh no, 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 no. I've had some rough days, but those experiences have taught me. And so that's, at this point, that's where I am on this journey, rebuilding, again, rebuilding. So, look, I've talked enough. Anybody got any questions? Tucson, I always call on you because you're the only one that talks. Any questions? Any questions? You're muted. Oh,
Yeah. But I was saying that again because I didn't get you.
I see you're breaking up. It's breaking up.
I
Well,
have a problem of network.
yeah. No, it's
Mm.
just there. Are there any comments, any thoughts? Not so much about what I said, but do you have any thoughts about rebuilding your consciousness?
Yes, according to me, what I can say about rebuilding our consciousness is that we have to be positive, lives, think positively because wherever we think, mm, get reactions in our lives, and it's just that when you think about something, it's like you are getting some plans for your life. Actually, it is in a divine way.
Hmm.
You may think in physical appearance, but it is setting in a divine way, and it can happen whenever you think badly or positively. That's why I can say that it's good for us to be thinking positively than negatively, because even our negative thoughts can influence our lives, and to be done, it cannot be good for us to, how can I say it? It's good to set good things for our lives.
Hmm. Okay, sounds good. So this is, I guess, a question for each one that's on here. The willingness. Are you willing to do the spiritual work, the inner work, to change your world around? And it's a question that only you can answer. And it's being honest within yourself. You have to be honest within yourself. It doesn't matter about anybody else. You have to be honest within yourself. Are you willing to do the inside work so you can live a better life? It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or what other people are doing. It's an individual journey. We all may cross paths, but it's like, are you willing to do to change your life around? And if you're not ready, it's still okay, but life is going to give you what it's been giving you. That make Hopefully that makes sense. If you're not ready to change or move forward or elevate higher, then that's your choice. It's our choice. But if you're ready and willing to do the work, the inner work, it's a process. It's sometimes, some days it's not going to be easy, because the spirit within you, to rebuild the consciousness, it's going to take you it's going to take you into the wilderness. It's going to take you into the valley, that subconscious mind where everything is stored, all your feelings, all your memories, all this lifetime, whatever lifetime. It's going to take you into some deep dark places that you've buried or we've buried, that you have to look at things, belief systems that you've had, feelings that you may have had about yourself. It's going to take you into these places so it can bring it to the surface, And you can look at it and say, you know what, that's my past. I'm not carrying my past into my future. I'm not carrying these negative emotions into my future. Because you can't mix the two. You can't mingle the two. Like, or they say oil and water, regardless how much you shake it up and how much you try to make it work, it doesn't work. Oil and water don't mix. It won't stay that way. It may be a temporary, I've done it before, you can shake it up, but eventually that oil and that water is going to separate again. And that's the same thing with, you can't take negative belief systems in to the divine in with, because they can't coexist. You got to be willing to let some stuff go, because the divine is pure. The divine consciousness, or that which we call God, is pure essence. You can't mingle the two. You can't mingle hatred in with pure essence of love. They don't mix. You can't go in with unforgiveness, an unforgiving heart, and say, okay, well, I'm walking in here because I have a forgiving heart, but yet and still you're holding grudges against somebody. And these are things that we work on a daily basis. It's not a one time. I've come to realize it's not a one time thing. We're going to constantly be working within ourselves, because as long as we're in this world, we're going to deal with situations. We're going to have to deal with negative people. We're going to have to deal with negative situations, but it's how do we handle these situations that show up? Do we allow them to get the better of us? I've had some negative situations this week, some things that I've messed up on, and I just smile through it and I say, okay, I messed up. I made a mistake. Okay, I realize I made a mistake, but I move on. Whereas a long time ago, I would be super upset and super mad, but now I'm learning it was a mistake. I move on past it now. So this is where we are on with building the consciousness, and this is what this journey is for me now. The divine way, it's about building the consciousness, and it's a constant, continuous cycle of events. It's a never ending. Each and every day, taking the time to be in the silence and see what spirit is guiding you, what your spirit is telling you to do for the day, for whatever it is you want. It's like, to get the desires of your heart, you got to go in and check your heart, because the desires in your heart, what's in your heart. I'm just looking at what's in your heart. If it's fear-based thinking, or is it positive thinking? Um, oh, what can I say? Over in Uganda, do you have a desire to build a building or open up a business? If that's a true desire, taking the time each and every day to say, okay, what is it I need to do today, so I can even start the process, you know and that's how this is what I'm looking at for me coming over there. It's like, if people aren't willing to build the consciousness, it's no reason for me to come over there. If people are want to stay in the same mindset that they're in, what's the purpose of me coming? Do you understand what I'm saying? If you got a mindset, I'm here, I'm stuck, and this is where I want to be, this is what I'm going to do, well, what's the purpose of me? What would be the purpose of me? Because I have a mindset of growth. I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to build. I'm I'm a doer. I like to do things. You understand what I'm saying? So because I'm a doer and I'm a forward thinker, I could not come over there with people that just want to sit around, and no offense, but I can't be around people that just want to sit back around and wait on Jesus to come. That's not who I am. I'm not a sit around and wait on Jesus to come person. If he ain't came in 2,000 plus years, and that's just where I am at this moment in time. I'm a builder. I'm a visionary. I like to do things. So again, this is something that people have to think about. With me coming over there, it's not about and he's talking about bringing the ministry over there. Well, if people have to be willing to want to change their lives. There's no sense in me coming to build a ministry over there if people are just wanting to sit there and I don't know. So that's the question. Some of the questions I have, some of the things that I'm looking at moving forward. And that's why I'm sharing this building of the consciousness, because if people are drawn to it, and it's like sharing it with a few people, but hopefully Spirit will draw people to it, those that are ready, and those that are not, they're not. But at the same token, I know that God is not going to send me all the way over there to start building something if people aren't ready. So that's how I'm looking at this moving forward. Um, so I don't know. Any questions? Any thoughts? I know I've been a little lax in my daily inspirations, but I've been doing so much here. But like I said, I'm you know, still working on trying to get it out so y'all can have it when you wake up in the mornings. But any questions? Somebody please have a question. Any questions?
Uh, what I wanted just to add on, are you getting me?
Well, try now. Try it now.
I wanted to add on saying that mm, we need to change to progress and if we don't change, even consciously, if we don't change, it's like you are moving. You want to go from a location to another location. Now you find you are at a roundabout. Mm. You start moving at that roundabout than going forward to the way where you want to head of where you want to go, and you just remain moving to the roundabout. That's what happened when you don't want to change your consciousness mind, and when you don't want to learn how to change it. But when we get this chance of it's good for us to be able and to be willing to change.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we learn and we don't change, that means that we are just moving and they remain where we are. It's not even important to learn if you are not willing to change.
Mm-hmm. And that's it. It's said because the world is full of opportunities. This world is full of opportunities. And it's like we've been given the gift of our thinking to bring forth these opportunities in our life. We we have the gift and it's within us. The world is
Yes, and the God say, I remember in the Bible they say that when God created a man and he told the man to go and lead on everything on earth.
mhm,
Now it's for us to choose if we want to lead or we want to be lead with the thing on earth.
mhm. And it's like this is what I want to say. I'm not against preachers. Trust me, I'm not against preachers because they can give us something, but when you come to a point where you want me to worship you and acknowledge you and think you know the direction God wants me to go in, and then you try to tell me that I have to listen to you, I have to follow you. No, that's where I have a problem with, because God has not stopped speaking to us. God speaks to everyone. God didn't just choose certain people to speak to. That Spirit of God is within everybody. It speaks to those who open themselves up to listen to it. That presence and power is in everybody. It didn't stop speaking with Jesus when Jesus died. That presence and power is still within everybody. It's in everything. We all have that innate ability within us. The problem is we stop listening to it. We started looking outside of ourselves. We looked at somebody's banking, because we looked at materialistic things that people had, and we start saying, "Oh, I want what they have." And so now you're following them because you want to try to get what they have. You don't know what people had to go through to get those things, and what the way they had to go through. You may not want to go through what they went through in order to get those things, but there's this presence and power within you that will lead you and guide you into, the Bible says, into all good things, living an abundant life. But we've got to tap into that presence and power within us. We don't tell it what to do. That's the problem too. We try to tell it what to do. This is, I want to go this way, I want this and I want that, and I want to do it my way. But scripture says that my ways are not your ways, and the spirit within us, its thoughts are not like our thoughts. So are we willing to build that relationship with that presence and power within us? That's what this journey is about. That's what the ancestors did. All the pyramids. How do you think those pyramids and all those big statues, the Sphinx and all those big wonderful statues got built? Because somebody outside told them what to do? No, they were listening. Our ancestors were listening to that spirit within. Man is trying to come there, and I'm thinking in the continent of Africa, and trying to figure out all the wonderful things there that has been done. The Europeans and everybody else is coming there to try to figure out how are they able to do that. And that's because they were tapped into that presence and power within them. And they even shared it with a lot of the Europeans that were coming. They shared their knowledge with a lot of Europeans. And even here in America, I say this, African Americans are not, they call us African Americans. I don't know why, but we're were very creative, and they shared and created a lot of things here. The first heart surgeon was an African American man. The traffic lights that are all over the world was created by an African American man. It was created by a black man. So we've got to tap into our power. If you do you understand, it's in us. It's not outside of us. But we've got to tap inside of it. That's how everything was created. All creations. It was it came for them to be created, it came from within them. All the buildings, all those great monuments and statues and all that stuff. How did that happen? They were tapped into that presence and power within them. And we have that same ability. We have the same ability. I'm asking my spirit now. I've always been a visionary, creating and doing things, but I know it's a whole nother level for me. So I'm asking my spirit. It's like I'm ready. Whenever you're ready, whatever I'm supposed to do, I'm ready to build now. And I know that which I build is going to be like awesome, awesome. And the reason it's going to be awesome is because I'm listening, internally listening to that presence and power within me. So again, each one of us, we have to make up in our mind what we want to do. If you want to follow the traditions of Christianity, then that's fine. You can follow that tradition. I've, but I've been there and done that, and I don't believe that I'm supposed to sit back and wait. Nowhere in the Bible is is Jesus telling me that I had to sit, Jesus or anybody else telling me I had to sit back and wait? Okay, I'm trying to mute somebody's noise. So again, look, that's all I have because I've talked a lot. And then I gotta be on Zoom again tonight, which what I do tonight on Zoom, it'll be on, it'll be live on YouTube. So whatever I do moving forward, I'm going to always share it here on. I'll share it on YouTube, so that if you want to access anything, any information as Spirit guides me, and like again, I've said for me, I'm sharing what Spirit is given to me. I could be selfish and say, you know what, I'm not sharing that. I'm keeping it all to myself, but that's not who I am. As Spirit guides me, I'm sharing this information freely because it was given to me freely. So I'm sharing. So,
Yeah, that's good.
huh?
Yeah, we'll be following, watching them, and also share for others.
Yeah, because like I said, tonight I'm going to start another section of building the consciousness, and I'm going to be going to the Bible. I want to show people how to look at the Bible from a spiritual perspective. I'm not saying the words in here aren't true. This is somebody's perspective, but how can you say? How can you share some insights? And sometimes, unless you use outside situations, you know, the trees, represent, what the trees represent within the body. So I, with building the consciousness, this is something I'm going to be sharing. It's the different meanings of the names, the Hebrew meanings of the names of the various characters in the Bible, and all that too, so that we can get a better
Yes,
understanding of how to put this book, how to make it work. This is how to make it work for us, as opposed to just reading some pages and looking at it literally and trying to live it literally. It's not working. It's just not working. I don't care how many churches you have or how many churches you build and how many people are within the confines of that building. If you're not operating from in here with it, if you don't understand it spiritually, it's not going to help you. You're just going to be, as people have been doing for a long time, you're just going to be looking, keep repeating the same cycle over and over. What did you call it, Tucson? You call it a roundabout? Just keep going around in circles, doing the same thing over and over and over. And it's the universe, and this is just something that's coming to me. The universe, that which we call God, is saying it's time. It's time for change, because people are asking within their spirit. People are just like, "What in the world, God? Why am I living like this? Why am I not happy?" I, people are asking a lot of questions. People are tired of living this crazy life in sickness. People are dying at young ages. That's when you look at scripture. People live long lives. We're not supposed to be dying of sickness. No, that's not the design. We're supposed to live long, healthy, happy, and prosperous lives. But a lot of young people here in America, anyway, I know a lot of young people, sicknesses are overtaking the body, and sickness is not a part of God. That's just that's what I see. That's what I see. So again, anybody got anything? And for the other ones, y'all could type something in, and even if, what I will start doing too is on the YouTube. If y'all type something in the YouTube, if you want to ask a question or put something in YouTube that you don't understand, I can read through it, and then prayerfully as spirit guides, I can share information as it, as spirit gives me. So, any questions, any concerns, any insights?
I I think there is no question.
Good. No, I'm not saying that like no, because it's after 2 o'clock. I got a lot. Like I said, I got a lot of stuff that I'm working on, a lot of things that I'm doing, and so I said these sessions I want to just kind of keep it within an hour and move from there. And like I said, I'll be posting more things on YouTube.
Okay.
On YouTube. Uh, but I'll still keep this going. We'll still meet here for now. Let me give you the next date. Today is the 25th. On the 8th. We'll be back on the 8th. So write that down. On the 8th, I'll be back here on this session.
On on 8th.
Yes, the 8th.
Okay.
Okay. So with
Thank
that,
you for today.
yeah. So with that being said, let me just say a quick little I'm gonna say a quick little prayer. There's noise. I just want to share this with you too as breath, our breath, our breath. Because it says that God, the universe, breathed into the nostrils. He breathed into the nostrils the breath of life. Because without breath, we wouldn't be in this body. And it says, a man became a living soul. It didn't say man became a human being. And it's not talking about physical man. And when it says man, it's talking about consciousness became a living soul, the ability to think. We became living souls long before we had the bodies. But breath, the importance of breath, learning to sit in the silence and sometimes just breathe. When chaos comes, when you find yourself stressed, just pause for a moment and just breathe. Breathing in through the nostrils, breathing in through the nostrils. And when you breathe in through the nostrils, I found that that life force, that energy from breathing in through the nostrils, it starts to go to all parts of the body, not just to the lungs. Breathing into the nostrils goes down into the diaphragm, into the gut area where it says our second brain, where our intuition is. Learning to breathe into the intuition, that intuitive aspect of ourselves. And it brings this relaxed feeling over you. Learning to take the time to connect with that which you are. Breathe, breath. It helps to calm the mind. It calms the spirit. And then it opens you up to that spirit within to reveal things to you. But we have to, again, we have to be open and receptive. Whatever it is I need to hear from you, whatever it is we need to hear from you, divine spirit within, whatever it is we need to hear, I'm open and receptive. And it's like, for me, I'm going to try to do my best. This is how I treat my life now. I'm going to try to do my best to follow your inner guidance. I'm going to do my best. But even if I fall short, we might fall short because of fear or whatever, where we don't follow that inner guidance. We shake we shake that dust off our feet and said, okay, I didn't get it this time, but I will the next time. We continue to strive, to listen, to follow through. We don't beat ourselves up. We don't allow other people to beat us up. We try again. We pause and we breathe and we wait for instructions. And again, we trust the process. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself. God is always patient with us, but we have to be patient with ourselves. So I just ask that the divine presence and power that is within each and every one of us,
Amen.
that it will lead and guide us into everything, every good thing that it has in store for us. So I just speak blessings over each and every one of our lives and know it's all good. It's all good. So until the next time that we meet, again, blessings upon top of blessings on top of blessings on top of blessings. So good night. Good night to each and every one.
Thank you. Thank you. Good day.
All right.